matrons. Thank you for coming, and thank you for coming to listen and hear about the development of the matron's role. Martin and Paul has already told you quite a bit of background about the development and how it comes about. So I'll tell you about the day-to-day process, how we get to this stage to have our first pre-launch event, as Paul has said. So we'll go straight to the presentation. So that's me, joined as NHS Improvement. We're now, the organisation is now NHS Improvement and NHSI. My fellowship was for 1 year, but 2018-19, and I'm now still Deputy Director at West Hart Hospital, and I've got some colleagues in the room here who's coming to listen. So, Ruth, thank you for joining me today in this interview for the Matrons Conference. Please tell us about your new role and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name's Ruth and I'm the new Chief Nursing Officer for England. I have a role that covers the whole of England, north, south, east, west, and it is, as I understand it, to be the lead, most senior nursing voice and advice to the whole of England. It's not just about NHS. I feel very passionately that it's there for all nurses and midwives across the whole of England.
Yes, thank you. What's your priority for your new role?
I was lucky enough last week to do my very first Chief Nursing Officer Summit in Birmingham for 2 days. And I talked in my speech, and I hadn't realised quite how long it was going to be. It was a whole hour of speaking about my priorities. And so my first priority, the biggest priority I believe that we've got as nurses and midwives across England, is around the workforce. How we ensure that we've got a workforce fit for the future, how we're using everybody as part of a team, how we wanting to make sure that we celebrate what we do as Team CNO. So workforce definitely is the very big priority for me as Chief Nursing Officer. The second bit then is about how we have renewed pride and celebration of us as professionals. And whenever I go, whether it's in a community, whether it's doing a shift at Birmingham Children's Paediatric Intensive Care Unit, whether it was down in Southampton, and wherever I am, I'm immensely proud of the sheer technical, sheer credibility, the absolute clinical excellence that nurses and midwives are providing day in, day out. And I really want to celebrate that, and I want to make sure we as a profession celebrate that massively. And my third priority then is #TeamCNO, how we come together with one collective voice. And I've just seen over the last couple of weeks, well, since the 7th of January when I first took up and I launched #TeamCNO on Twitter, that it's starting to become a voice that we celebrate what we're doing, we challenge what we're doing, we're having a conversation about where nursing and midwifery professions can go. So yeah, Team CNO is not about me, it's not about my direct reports, it's about every nurse and midwife across England coming together and standing firm and being absolutely clear about where we want to see nursing and midwifery going.
Excellent, sounds wonderful. What role does the matrons have to play in this?
Oh, huge role. Matrons like ward leaders or community team leaders, so matrons, senior nurses at that level, whether it's a matron in an acute ward, in an outpatient setting, in a private wing, or whether it's in prisons, wherever a matron role. So senior nurse and midwifery leaders are critical to make sure that patients, the people that we serve, have safe care. They're also there though, not just for patients, but also for their staff and for their teams, to making sure that they have the support they need, they have the constructive challenge and support they need. But the matron's role, I believe, is about bringing together what's right for patients, making sure they have safe and effective care, but also with some happy and safe staff. So it's crucial how you get that balance. So matrons' role are, they're key to making our care that we give our patients and our people that we serve safe.
Thank you, certainly. What's next for the matron's role?
Oh, you tell me. I'm looking for the matrons across England to have a voice, be part of Team CNO, be clear about what it is that you want to deliver, where you want to see yourself in the next 2, 3, 4 years' time as a professional group. You know, what is it that you want from me as CNO, and what it is that I can support you on, but also where do you want to take the matron role? So I'm very new in post, I'm not yet into the 100 days, so tell me, what is it the way you want to take it?
Thank you so much, Ruth. Such an inspiring interview. Wish you all the best in your new role as CNO for England.
Thank you very much.
By myself, it's all of us nationally who has answered that question in terms of where we want to take the role. And this is the stage that we're at. We're not sure what's the next step. We'll just continue to see it as it develops. So that's me. I'm sure each of us will have a picture like that, which where we graduated as a nurse. Yeah, so I trained as a nurse in Jamaica, and following that I came to work in England to have a broader experience. I qualified with a diploma, and then I did my BSc in nursing. Following that, I specialized in infection prevention and control, and for that role, lots of leadership development. So I did a master's in leadership and management, and then that takes me into a senior role into infection control. I've been deputy director, I've worked in many lead nurse, a matron's role for infection control, head of nursing for infection control, and now more recently I've done my fellowship at NHSE Improvement, which was a very busy, inspiring year. I learned so much. I also do other voluntary roles, such as a board member to the RCN and also a trustee to the Peace Office around end-of-life care. So many broad elements to really just learn how to bring everything together to deliver a good service. So, as Paul says, the Matron's Handbook is a team effort, and we have Ruth May, which is the sponsor, Hillary being, at the time, the Deputy CNO, also Deputy Sponsor myself, which led the project, and worked with Paul there, who was my line manager while I was at NHS Improvement. So we have a picture of some of one of the development events, and also Team CNO with various team members that contribute to the handbook. So the background is that we have no recent publication about the matron's role. The matron's charter and key roles has been almost 20 years old, and the aim was to bring back the role to quality and bring it in line with the ward leaders handbook, the executive nurse handbook, which has been developed already, and also to make sure that the matrons is part of the wider framework around leadership and development. So, so prior to starting at NHS Improvement, I've always been interested in other things. I've actually been speaking to my matron colleagues at my trust to say, well, what do you do on a daily basis? And one particular colleague will say, well, I just go around to try and find beds, and I really don't get much time to do anything else. So that was quite, would that have been what you think? Yes. Yes. So I was very fortunate to come along and work with Team CNO, Paul, and the rest of the team, and Sherry and Ruth, and be allocated this project to lead on and work with the team to develop the handbook, which has already started gathering so much paperwork, not having a plan for it, but it was just gathering that information. So there was national consultation, some of you would have been part of that. Of the national experts, which I'll show you when we get to slide 10 in the presentation. So a little bit more about the Nurse Fellow Program. We have Fellow number 6 at NHS Improvement and now NHS England and I. So the aim of the Fellows Program is to have the opportunity to work on a broader piece of work and working on gaining broader experience. So some of the other projects, we have Frailty Digital. My project comes under leadership, end of life care, dementia, with Ward Leaders Handbook and research projects. So why develop the handbook? We've mentioned that no recent documentation about the matron's role. We're seeing the matron's role have evolved over 20 years. At the time of the creation of the modern matron's role, it's mainly focused on quality, making sure you have a clean environment, making sure that there's a good image for what the public and the patient sees. But now we've seen a change with more operational activity. I've got a slide that will explain a lot more about that. So the handbook can be used by aspiring matrons, staff at band 7 who wants to come up into the matron role, current matrons who want to say, well, I've got all of this now, I just want to say, yes, I have it, and there's a competency that you can use to sign off, and for the chief nurse and directors of nursing to use it to help guide the development of matron in their organization. So the purpose of the matron's handbook: encourage matrons to come into the role. As you can see, there's a lot of national support and engagement around the role, making sure that whatever you do on a daily basis, you're still focusing on quality of patient care, and really this helps to make an impact on the future of nursing. As you've heard from Ruth's presentation, part of our priorities to see that we are sharing the voice and making nursing the profession of choice, and also really to embed your clinical skills and make sure that you have what you need in your daily role. So there's lots of engagement. I was up and down the country speaking to experts. We have from interview with the chief nurse, Deputy CNO Ruth, Deputy CNO, working on a daily basis with my line manager Paul, Jackie when she was in the role prior to her retirement, and then various subject experts at universities and other arm's length bodies, as well as various trusts. So that's my trust there, West Hart. Let's see the staff from West Hart. We have Joe, Nabil, and we have another Joe other back there, so we still have some colleagues here. So obviously we can have another list of trusts who were visited and who have contributed to the handbook, as well as other colleges there who have engaged with. So we've had 3 matrons events where we've looked at engaging with matrons, developing the handbook, having forums like Paul have mentioned, to really get the information from you, what you wanted. As Ruth has said, tell us staffing levels and other things that is very important to deliver quality care. Performance. I'm sure each time we attend all our meetings, all of the got some feedback on where we've achieved with our targets. This is just a snapshot of what a performance dashboard might look like. Digital. So this one is completely new to the role, making sure that the future of nursing is digitalized, and as matrons, part of your role is to lead in your team to make sure they're all up to speed with digital resources available in the trust. In terms of the national support, we have NHSX, NHS Digital, and NHS Improvement and NHSI, which is helping to lead the way around that. Education and training, again, when you look at the handbook, you'll see various links to education and training resources. We'll always start with NHS England and NHSI, the Royal Colleges, Royal College of Midwife, Royal College of Nursing, the Nursing and Midwifery Council, as well as other resources. So those are there. Research and development. Again, this is a part of the role that we might not always have the chance to do, but we know as we go forward for the future of nursing, we want to see people taking up clinical academic career, doing research alongside their day job, building it in their day job and making sure your research is embedded in practice. So again, in the handbook, there are various references and sites that you can look at and how you can get support for your research. Collaborating and effective working again, national collaboration. This year is the year of the nurse, and make sure that you're involved in that and you're leading on quality improvement programs in your trust. So these are some examples of quality improvement programs that you might get involved in. And again, refer to the handbook for any links for quality improvement resources. So at the end of the handbook, there's a competence framework, and that is just for you to look at to say what you need to do, or if you already have those skills, you can simply sign it off and you can discuss it at your appraisal and discuss support that you can gain around your role. And as we mentioned, support, these are the various organizations and websites that can gain support. If you need direct links to any of these, refer to the handbook, and again, you can speak to any of the team members for this information. A little bit more about how we can use the handbook for general reading, preparing for the role, maybe if you're going for a matron's interview, professional development, and asking for support within your organization. So as we said, the next step for the Matron's Handbook is publication on Friday by our Chief Nursing Officer for England, Ruth May. And also we'll be distributing the link to matrons so that they can have copies of the handbook. And there are a total of 5 conferences. So we have 4 more across different cities. So thank you, and that's my contact, although Paul is seeing the rest of the work through. So you can either contact me or contact Paul directly or any. But if there's any contact regarding any help or putting it in the right direction, you can contact me directly at my hashtag there. So I'm also tweeting with Matron Network and Team CNO. So just a little bit more about the engagement events that we have had. We focused on Ruth throughout giving a message, sharing a message as the CNO for England. Dr. April Brown, which is here in the room, April is at the back there, who has done a research on the matron's role. So we have got a slide, a page in there about April's research. Also, we have a future nurse from the NMC standards. Is that correct, Paul? NMC or yes? Yeah, yes.
Health Education.
And Health Education England. And Nursing Associate, which Paul is leading on nationally. Workforce, the image of nursing, ensuring that everyone is compliant with the CQC well-led quality improvement, and we have a World Cafe for each event to develop the handbook. So these are the old 10 key roles. As you can see, I won't read out all of it, but you can have a snap of it. This is not the current role, so this is what it looks like. And as you can see, there wasn't anything about operations, finance, bed management. It was mainly around cleanliness, quality, but that was almost 20 years ago. So during the development and the research around the handbook, these are the things that I found was the main talking point But these are not the 10 key roles that you've come up with, but these are things that people was always feeding back to me to say, this is what they find as a challenge, this is what they would want in the handbook, this is what they're doing at the moment. So these are the new 10 key roles. As Paul says, please do not tweet this today, because Ruth May will be launching this on Friday, and therefore after that, then you can tweet. Well, you can take pictures, but don't tweet today. keep it until Friday.
Who you are if you do.
Okay. So, tell you a little bit more about each of the roles. So inclusive leadership, making sure that the senior staff roles in the organization is representative of the patient and staff population. So making sure that we have people at the top of the board who present a diverse background. Governance and patient safety. I'm sure all of us will hear quite a lot about this pretty much every day in terms of delivering high quality care. And the center of it is the CQC key lines of inquiry. And a lot of us might be prepping for our CQC as we speak. Workforce. As Ruth said in her presentation, it's about workforce, and also retention. And there are various resources that are available for retention and workforce development. So I'm sure you can link in with Paul for contact, for information around it, or if you'd like me to put you in contact with anyone else, I can do that. Patient experience, again, is very important to make sure that we're delivering high quality care that meets the expectation of our patients. And it's not just about really finance. Have I got for finance?